Good evening and welcome to the eMpTy podcast. My name is Desensitisation, and to my left you have...
Sorelli, ever so slightly broken, but today I think I'll be totally broken. Yeah, today I'm broken.
Nice. And then on my right you have...
Buddy in the building, a.k.a. The Truth.
Hallway.
And got myself the citrus. I'm going to bring the Yagayos in a little bit. It's going to make a bit of sense. So this one, we've already done this topic, gents. But someone's asked me to revisit it after them listening to it on the SoundCloud, which is the eMpTy page on SoundCloud. They've got nearly 100 podcasts on there. And it's got parenthood. And they've asked for the do's and don'ts of parenthood, according to eMpTy. So this is our 4 decades on this earth experience of observing, living, obviously directly experiencing and being parents, and some do's and don'ts. So in my head, I was like, okay, let's paint some scenarios. And then in those scenarios, we can then advise individuals what the right and wrong things are not to do. Does this make sense thus far?
We can work with it.
Yeah? So I'm going to throw you straight in the deep end. Unlike Sorelli saying that he's going to throw a 2-year-old baby off the bed just so he can get his leg over, which is very raw, Sorelli, I'm saying if...
You said sink, bro.
I said I'll swaddle the baby and put the baby in the sink.
In a sink, bro?
The water's not on. The sink's dry.
You wake up, Barlin, knock a head on the sink.
No.
Bust, get a scar in the forehead like somebody I know.
Why can't you lot just wait? Take
For
time.
what?
Just take time. She will find a babysitter one day.
Also,
Okay.
leave the yard
So leave.
and go home with 3 legs.
Bruv, and that's it. Just leave it alone, bruv. It's fine.
You're lying, bro.
Even Jay's busting up at you.
Nah, bruv, I ain't beating
You're lying. So the first picture I'd like to paint is young parents. I'd like you guys to think of do's and don'ts. And whilst you think of do's and don'ts, I'm going to frame it. So young parents in this scenario are young adults below the age of 23. Right? And even though 23 or 24 is young, I'm specifically picking 23 and below as young parents. Now, below can go as young as you want. I mean, when I was in school, there was a girl who had a kid. She was 13. Do you know what I mean? Madness.
EastEnders thing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Jeez.
But young parents, do's and don'ts. I'm going to start with Buddy.
Young parents, do's and don'ts. I suppose one of the things that needs to be said is looking after a child or having a child. You need to be responsible in it, and you need to kind of understand that life's changed in it. You're saying 23 and under.
And below, yeah.
So life's changed in it. You're no longer the kid that relies on your parents. You're now the parent that your kid is relying on. So you have to kind of flip it on how you're going to have to look at things in life. I would say the don'ts I would turn and say is you don't really want to have too much swearing, vulgarness, and you want to give them a happy upbringing. You want to make them feel comfortable. You want to make them feel like where they are, they're protected. You know what I mean? You got to make sure that there's nobody around that's going to be endangering your child in any form or way, especially from a young age, because your influence. It's my 24th birthday coming up, or it's my girl's 24th birthday, and she's going out now and wants to leave her child with just any and anybody. Like, it is a saying that they need a village to make it takes a village to raise a child, and that's what I'd go with.
Yeah, you're getting enough technical, brother. So I'm on basic, simple things. First is, obviously, if it happens, you have to deal with it. But if you can avoid having a child below the age of 23, don't do it. It's hard.
Prevention is better than cure.
Prevention is better than cure. I'm talking from experience. I had a child when I was 19 and I love him dearly. And now that I've gone through it, I can honestly say, yeah, it was hard. It was hard.
Can I jump in there? You say it was hard, and I'm not going to I'm not going to like.
Brother, I'll throw the sofa at you. You tell me, oh,
it was easy. No. I'm going to say to you, yeah, it's hard. But on the same side of things, I'm looking at it thinking, you have an amazing family now with your kids at the age that they are, and you being the age that you are. So it's kind of like, as much as it was hard, there were still some plus points to it.
Oh, that's because of who I am. So it's funny you should say that. Myself and Citrus were talking about some things earlier today, and there was lows and highs and all sorts about it. But the crust of it was, this is where we are now. And once you can use that to your advantage and say, well, it doesn't matter how I got here. We're here now. So all I can do is the best I can do with the situation I've got now. So you're absolutely right. I love my family. God, thank you. I'm very happy. I'm young enough that I'm still able to do things and understand and, rap with them on that kind of level. So
what it is I've found to myself is that, for example, and obviously I know your son and your daughter, and it's like...
Sons, bro.
Sons, yeah. Well, I wasn't talking about the younger one because of, obviously, where we're at.
You got to shout him out as well, though.
Yeah, well, it's my boy. But it's like, I look at it and I think to myself, the relationship that you are able to have with them is because you're closer in age. So some people do look at it and think of it as a negative. And I'm not trying to encourage like anyone listening to this and saying, I'm encouraging have a child young is the best thing ever. I'm definitely not saying that because I don't agree with it either. And I agree with you, prevention is better than cure. However, the fact that you had a child so young also gave you a chance to have a great relationship with him growing up to the point where you are now in life and where he is now in life, you're now kind of at a point where we can rap, we're friends, we're close, we've got a tight-knit relationship. That's both with your son and your daughter that are both of the higher ages. And it changes the dynamics. I mean, my sister had a child quite young. And where she had her daughter quite young, it was at first, I was furious. I was like, you ruined your life. What have you done? And then I look at it and I think to myself now, like, how has she been able to, how my niece has grown, how she's grown up as a person. It's amazing. You know what I mean? And I look at it as my niece, I can't believe I was so angry when she conceived because I was vexed. I was like, what have you done? You know, worst thing you could have ever done. Like, you've got your whole life ahead of you and now you've got a child. What are you doing? But then the same side of things, the reasons why and some of the do's, I suppose, on your list is that she had my mum. And my mum, I'll be very honest, was amazing because my mum took off all that responsibility. Like, for a long time...
Not all of it, but she
took off the majority of it. But my niece, my sister did loads, so don't get twisted, and she did amazingly well. But I look at it now and I say, you know, without my mum, like, a lot of things aren't possible. And that's for all of her kids, and all my mum's kids. I'm just bigging up my mum, I suppose. But it's like she does so much to try and help her kids maintain or do what they've got to do. And the fact that my sister had a child so young, she was able to now grow her in the way that she grew her is amazing. You know what I mean? So that's why I think having the child so young, as much as you're saying, oh yeah, prevention is better than cure, I also think to myself, yeah, but having a child younger still allows you to enjoy certain future things as well.
So let me expand on that. So you're right, and thank you very much for the compliment. It was hard, but we were of that mindset, as I said, it's here now, you just got to deal with it. Now, I would not tell anyone out there that having a child young is a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's just that everybody's different with how you deal with stuff. Now, some people are not mentally mature enough at that time to deal with it. Kids have an amazing way of accelerating that kind of adult part of your body in the sense of responsibility, in that sense of you now have something that you're responsible for 24 hours a day. It's not oh yeah, I wake up, I'm responsible now when I go to bed. It changes you physically, mentally, emotionally, things that you don't even think that you would actually do, you do. When my son was born, I turned into the ultimate ninja sleeper. I'm the man that used to go sleep and the house could burn down and I would have probably burned down with it. As soon as my son was born, all of a sudden now I've got daddy instinct. And perfect example, sleeping on the bed. He's maybe 6 months old, sleeping next to me. Our bed was quite high. He starts to wake up and starts to move around on the bed. I'm sleeping. He gets to the end of the bed, goes over, and is about to fall. My eyes are closed. I wake up, grab his foot. Don't ask me how. I do not know. To this day, I don't know how. Grab his foot and pull him back onto the bed. He looks at me and starts busting up. I'm vexed. I'm scared. Emotions are... What, is anyone around to see this? Did you not see what I've just done here? So all of this is going on, but these are things that you're not ready for. It just happens. And you've got to be in that mind state to handle those things. Plus, I suppose the question you started off with in the beginning is, what would you say to people? I would say to them that having a child doesn't mean your life is over. You've just got to be able to be the Carlsberg of whoever you are.
I like that. Citrus.
Don't be an alcoholic as a young parent. I think you guys have gone way too deep. I'm going to give a couple simple do's and don'ts. Don't put enough heavy shopping on the back of the pushchair when you got the ute. Because when you let go of the pushchair,
It tilts back.
the counterbalance...
So is this a schoolboy section?
Bruv, this is...
Basics. He's going basics.
Nah, it's a schoolboy section. This is schoolboy section.
Well, hopefully not schoolboy dads, but we're talking basic of basic young parents' do's and don'ts. Don't put too much shopping on the back of the pushchair, because if you do, and you let go of the pushchair and you forget focus, the counterbalance of the shopping is going to catapult the child, maybe not out, but the pushchair is going to fall.
I see your pushchair and I raise you. Do not go out and buy the top of the top £1,500, £2,000, £3,000 pram with attachments.
Travel system.
Travel system. Thank you very much. And just so that we are totally clear, I'm talking about when you see these people that have got buggies with cradle cots that look like...
Spaceship.
Brother, it looks like a whip.
The worst thing is you're saying...
It's got spinners, rims, everything.
I'll be very honest with you. Ain't nobody listening to this.
Okay. We're not doing that. We're doing do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know
so
why?
I'm going to help you out. Another do and don't. When bathing a child, you do not need more than 2 inches of water.
Right, you got a water meter in it.
You don't need any more than 2 inches of water. Even 2 inches is probably too much. But 2 inches from the child lying down, this is enough. We don't need anything more than that. Anything more than that could cause long-term damage. Buddy, do's and don'ts.
I see that I'm not on this 2 meter thing. I'm just saying to myself, I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I never asked you if you agree with it. I said, can I have your do's and don'ts?
I don't know. Don't drop the dummy on the floor and then just pick it up.
Did you say drop the dummy on the floor?
If the dummy
Yeah,
drops
looking
on
after
the floor, if the dummy drops on the floor, don't...
Wait. Come here. You're crying. Give me that shit. Now
Don't
you
let
see
the
what's
dummy drop on
happened.
the floor. Then I don't know. Just pick it up and put it in the child's mouth. Needs to be washed and sterilised.
Shirley, any more do's and don'ts?
I'm not.
Don't let Buddy.
Don't let Buddy. Just don't let Buddy.
Don't let Buddy, yeah? Fine.
Just don't let Buddy.
So it's fine with the unsterilised dummy going back into the child's mouth.
Don't give your child a dummy.
I'd get out of here. You
A
know what?
pacifier, dummy, any other things, long it off.
Do you know what? I'll actually disagree with that. I'll take that and disagree with it. But only because, do you know what? I didn't give my son a dummy at first, right? Or at first at all, all right? But then you know what he did? Sucked his thumb. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, it was his way of going to sleep. And then to take his thumb away...
Is this from his?
But to take his thumb away is a lot harder than taking the pacifier away. So at this point, I had no control.
So the reliance was on the thumb.
On the thumb. I had no control over
and
that.
you couldn't then...
Take away the thumb.
Take away the thumb.
So this is where I now learn, as now if I have my next child, he'll here's a dummy. Take it, because when I'm ready to turn and say, you ain't getting that no more, I could take it away. When I said you're not having your fun anymore, he just turned and said, when you're not around, bro. Look me in my eye. When you're not
suited
around,
him, innit?
I got this.
You know what? He was so good at it.
Yeah, now I see where the sun got it from, innit?
And his thumb's dirty. So he said about the pacifier.
The rum. It's the rum. It's the rum. Cleans it.
My man started smoking his thumb.
I was looking like he was giving his thumb head, bruv.
I'm like, right.
All right. Let me screenshot the time. Yeah, 8:37. Right. So,
I ain't even stopping that one. It's loud, man.
so I need some more do's and don'ts, because there's so many do's and don'ts, right? One thing which the automatic rockers, they're about 200 quid.
Oh, the baby bouncer thing.
The baby bouncer automatic ones, waste of money. Use it and rocking chairs.
All right, I got one for you.
So you use it for probably 4 weeks, and then it takes up a permanent fixture in your yard and becomes a glorified clothing horse.
I agree.
So I'll say,
Can't argue.
it's not worth it.
So, talking from experience, I bought my son, I love you daily, son, but I spent back then, I don't know, £300 on buying him a Renault Megane
On a car thing.
and put that thing in the yard. We were in a 2-bed flat.
Too big to go. It can only go
Brother, we was on the 3rd floor.
too heavy to carry.
Too heavy. And when you charge it, back then we didn't have Tesla's technology. The battery lasted all of 10 minutes. So you bust yourself up, carrying this thing, we had no lift, carrying this thing down the stairs
Mad.
for 10 minutes of play. And then to make it worse, it only worked on certain surfaces. So if you're on the grass, none can go on. If you're on the
You
concrete,
have to be on perfect tarmac.
perfect tarmac.
Right. Okay.
So don't do it.
Okay. All right, buddy. Anything else to add? I mean, I've got one about trainers.
Oh, man. Do you know what the thing is?
He's going to blame your thing.
I suppose, especially the younger, because you're doing the younger generation, right? One of the biggest things is that we sit there and we like, if you're younger, you want to buy all the expensive clothes and designer stuff. If I could ever tell any younger parents, they grow out of it so quickly. There's no point in spending £100 unless you've got money to burn, all right, on a baby grow that says Hugo Boss or whatever else, Prada or Gucci on there. Because you know what? In about 2 weeks, you're gonna have to dash it in the bin or give it as a hand-me-down.
I disagree.
I learned that as a young parent, as an old parent.
You just need to modify your thing. So don't buy their size. If you say don't buy their size, I can work with that.
Brother, them things there, they grow out of, like he was about to say with the trainers, and it's when he said it about the trainers, it's like, you buy them, I'm going to get you the new Jordans, super, £100,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to get that for you. 2 days later, right, it doesn't fit them no more. Pfft, you best put it in your foot, let it cramp up their foot then, because I'm not throwing away the £100 trainer.
So something I've learned, when I had my first son, that was a given. You buy things, this looks wicked. What? They do it in the baby size, and I just bought a pair of crepes. We gonna have matching crepes. I'm sorry.
You're wearing it twice.
You're right,
bruv.
You're right.
Once when you get home, and once to the one event
Then
Yeah.
you take them to.
they're going to take them to.
When are you wearing it next? It's too tight now.
Can't
But
do it.
what's happening now, or what is available now is, I buy too big for you, I keep it crisp, and then I shot it. I actually did this for my son. Hear me out. I bought a pair of summer Nike sandal thingies, whatever they are.
Hello.
Bears.
Hello.
Bears. I don't give a damn. You're right. That's exactly what it looks like.
Get the frig out of here.
I bought them for him, and I bought them too big.
Buddy say. So when he's buying trainers, 8 sizes too
Straight
big.
up.
Let me just have him this big.
Straight
It's
up.
fine.
My granddad did it for me. My granddad was so forward
So
thinking.
when he's turning around and saying we have to tie the lace around the knee to make sure the shoe
It's
don't
not even a
fall
joke.
off.
My granddad was so forward thinking. He bought me trousers that were in a sale for a 7-year-old, and I was still free.
All right, calm, but I'm not on that. There's certain do's and don'ts that will fall accidentally in don'ts, because
That's the dope.
that's a don't.
That's you. For me, sell your kids clothes that are too small. It's a business. That's
All
a
right,
do.
so no, he's switching it up now.
No, but you never let me
said that.
finish,
You
though.
said you're gonna buy something 8 sizes too big.
You never let me finish,
and
though.
have the you walking around like Krusty the Clown.
Bruh.
No.
No.
I'm turning around and saying, I'm
Look at.
excommunicado, anything like that, because when you get it, On the day they wear it, it looks nice. Just know they're not going to wear it again. Because what will happen is you put it aside because it's nice clothes, so they're not going to wear it regularly. So when it's another time to wear it, you put it on, and now the baby will come like a vest.
Now, that's one of my don'ts, which I hadn't got to yet, which is don't save clothes.
Don't save clothes.
Don't save clothes, bruv. I buy you clothes. I bought him a really nice outfit.
Wear it now.
Bruv, wear it. Why am I putting it in the cupboard?
So wear it in the yard when you're not going nowhere. It's fine. Wear your christening shirt.
I don't know how many times.
Just wear it in the yard. It's fine.
I don't know how many times you're leaving the yard. But I'm not on buying something. You wore it to whatever event it is, and then I'm putting it in a cupboard.
How many times did you wear your christening outfit?
I was too young to remember. I don't know. But if you ask,
how many times did you wear
my son?
Yeah,
brother, we wore it,
buddy, twice.
No. I've actually got photo evidence.
I can tell you, there's things that my kids have twice.
Yeah, but
my daughter had an amazing fur coat, something. I was like, boom.
I'm not on that.
It's only £40, no problem. Wore it once, wore it again,
done.
And then do you know how you know it was too small? When she's putting it on, and the sleeve is all
like
up by her elbow, and I was like, with the best will in the world, I couldn't do it.
You're wearing it to school on Monday.
No. Sorelli's moving mad.
Yes,
right,
yeah.
but we're gonna move through this. So parenting do's and don'ts. Old parents. So now we need to give advice to parents that have their child in their 40s. You could be 40 and one day. What advice can we give to old parents?
Don't do it.
Wisen up from the ones that you had before, innit? Or if you got none before.
That's assuming that they've had children before. So imagine they have no children before. First you on your 41st birthday.
You're as good as the 23-year-old now.
This is it.
See the previous guy.
This is it. Read. Before 23, don't have kids. After 40, don't have kids.
Nah. I'm not saying
that. That's
mad. Vicious, bruv.
Ever so slightly broken.
That's just broken,
that's
bruv.
too vicious. No.
That's just broken.
That's not fair as well.
No, the reason why I'm saying it is because...
After 40, right?
Yeah. Don't do it. And the reason... And hear me out for a sec. The reason why I say it is, obviously, you haven't got no kids and this is your first child. God bless you. Have your child and be happy. But...
Shirley said, don't do it.
She said, don't do it.
I'm saying... If you can control that situation, do it. For me, all right, let's put it out there. For you, what do you think is the optimal age to have a child?
29.
Buddy?
I mean, I would say 30, but...
I would say 32.
Why?
The reason why I would say 32 is because by 32, sense had found me. Before 32, sense was rolling around and I was doing pure madness. No, I mean, bruv, let's be honest, innit?
I don't agree with that.
For me, sense found me then. That's when sense said, yeah, me and you can be bridges. And we started rolling together. So there's enough things I learnt when I was on the 32 mark. But that was my significance. So for example, I learnt, don't make decisions when I'm at a heightened state of emotion. Be it may discipline your child, be it may make a decision, be it may have an argument or discuss a topic that is very important. When I was in my 20s, because I had kids young, I was forever firefighting to be a parent, get my career on track. And it's only when I got into my 30s that my career was like established. I wasn't at the top echelons of my industry. However, I was at a steady pace where I was climbing and saying, okay, I'm at a place where I can say, all right, I understand how this works now, and I had more control over it. So for me, 30 is a good middle ground. I'm still young enough to chase you around the park. I'm old enough to know better. That's for me.
Buddy.
What's my perfect age? Or reason?
No. Old parents, do's and don'ts.
Do's and don'ts. I mean... Do you know what the funniest thing is? When you say do's and don'ts for being a parent, do you know there's not actually a book that would ever be able to tell?
There's loads of books.
No.
Man, don't read.
let me finish, bro. Like like, there's no way they can tell you what to do and not to do with your child. Like, there's none. All right, because whatever I decide to do with my child, I'm gonna follow the way that I feel to raise my child. It's gonna be different from the way that you raise yours, and it's gonna be different from the way you raise yours. However, the do's and don'ts, I suppose, there are very like there's the basic ones, like you said, the pram thing. Like, enough people do it. Let's just put all our shopping on there and it just hangs over. Let's drop a dummy on the floor. It just stops them from crying. Just pick it up. You know how many people step on this floor and you're gonna just pick it up and put it back in their mouth. You're not gonna try and clean it or sterilize it. This is how people get sick. But don't worry, it's fine. You know what I mean? There's loads of different ones that we've slightly mentioned some of them, and we're not. I don't see there as being an age cap on where you want to tell and say, oh, the 23-year-old needs to learn this.
I've got loads.
The 30-year-old needs to learn this.
Know your age. So when the kids sleep, you sleep. This is a very simple do.
So
when the child sleeps, you sleep.
So why doesn't the 23-year-old need to learn this?
I didn't say they didn't need to learn it. I just said I'm tailoring this more so to the older parent as it comes to my brain. And one of the things that registers highly is when the child sleeps, you sleep. Because you want to make sure you're both on the same sleep pattern as quickly as possible.
Amen.
But I'm saying this is parenting, right?
101.
Age
One of I'll help you out. As the older parent, sports day, know your lane. Don't be racing against
Egg and spoon rain.
Yeah, the 18-year-old
whippersnapper.
Yeah, let's not. It's fine. It's fun. It's all about participation.
I don't want to participate. Pull my hamstring. All of a sudden I'm like, I can't walk for the next couple of days. Or you embarrass yourself and fall on your face.
And then other people are saying, "Oh, you bought your granddad." No, that's my dad.
My dad. He's just grey.
He's just grey and
slow.
And he's the one that fell over and landed on his face. Nah, that's fine.
I've got a don't. If your child doesn't eat something, for example, they don't like vegetables, do not remove it from the plate.
Ooh.
This is for the 30-year-old, yeah?
It doesn't matter. You're framing it. We're free flowing.
Can you have a stick so you can just
knock him on the head? It's very hard.
I'm asking the question. I'm going by what the subject is.
We're giving people some.
You know when we put
life-changing gems.
You know when we
bro.
put 23-year-old, 30-year-old.
It's gems. Just know it, bruv.
Do not, and I have to repeat it, do not remove things from your kid's plate that they do not eat. So I'll give you clarity on it. You you dish your food at night, your child doesn't like broccoli. Most parents will say, all right, he's not going to eat any, or she's not going to eat anyway. Let me remove the broccoli and just give them the rest of the stuff that they will eat. Don't do that. You give them the broccoli, you tell them it's good for you, you give them all the information, but you keep putting it, and you keep putting it, and you keep putting it.
I like this.
It doesn't matter if
it goes to waste.
Just have it on the plate. Because I can assure you, the day will come when the child's going to be like, if you don't put it, why is there no broccoli on my plate? Even if they don't eat it, mentally,
so you're
where's my broccoli?
A psychological, like, just trying to.
No, do you know why I like this? Because my nephew is 18 and he doesn't like veg. And when he plates up food, because he cooks for himself, he don't even cook veg at all. And I asked my mum, I was like, what's going on? Oh, since he was young, he didn't like it, so I stopped doing it. Yeah. So to him now, it's completely alien.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when I said to him, we were going shopping, I took him to uni last week, and I was like, all right, come. The first shop's on me. When we went down the veg aisle, he went for onions, garlic, spring onion, because that's what he uses to cook his food. So I was like, okay, what about the veg? He's like, I was like, what does that even mean?
When you don't get words and you just get a sound.
Yeah, he don't want it. He's not going to cook it. So I was just like, So I like this. I do like that one.
Do you know why I disagree with that example that you made? Because
who you pointing your finger at, bro?
Citrus.
Me. Okay.
Because he made the example, right? So it's like I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan of veg when I was younger. I eat veg now. Like, I eat veg now because I choose to eat veg. Like, I can't necessarily put it down to mum putting it on my plate, forcing me to eat it, or for the fact that, I didn't used to eat it, or I used to chuck it away. I don't put it down to any of that. I just I want to eat veg now. Like, not
Okay, no. I think you got the wrong end of the stick. So what I'm saying is that because it was taken off the plate,
he's now
even now,
adjusted to say I don't need it.
I don't need it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So that's the difference. So Sorelli's saying put it on the plate even if they don't eat it is one thing, and I'm saying I agree with it because removing it from the plate it's not even an option.
It doesn't exist.
It don't exist. Like for me, anything in the pickled aisle or anything along that kind of anything Piccalilli, all of that stuff in the supermarket, this aisle is wasted on me because I never had it growing up. I don't now. I just bop straight past the aisle. Sometimes that aisle's got pasta in it. You know what I mean? Little hint. But outside of that, I don't.
I do get it. You're kind of brainwashed into
You're brainwashed. Yeah.
I do understand the logics of what Sorelli was saying in the sense of if it's there all the time. So now that I'm an adult, my pasta, my meat, where's my veg? I didn't even used to eat that, but it's
where is it? It's part of the plate, isn't it?
Plate. So
okay.
I get it, but I get the ideology.
Okay, so I need quick fire now. Old parents' do's and don'ts. I'm going to get one. Find other parents your age to do activities you can keep up with.
Say again, sorry?
Find other parents your age.
I like how he phrased this in such a PC way.
To do
Find
activities.
rock people that are broken like you, so stay in your lane.
The people that want to play slap ball,
yeah.
with just a tennis ball, would say this is a sport.
Don't find parents that can twist you up in football. Find a man
Don't
with
find
one
parents
foot.
that are turning around and saying, like, next week we're going free running. It's all right.
Don't find a parent that's on Project eMpTy.
All right. Okay. Surly, come on, quick. Buddy, you're next.
Yeah, go to Buddy.
No, wait, give me a second to think, man.
Nah, there's no seconds, bruv. Think.
Bro, he said to you first. He never called my name
All
this
right.
time.
Dudes, make friends with your kids' friends' parents.
Your kids' friends' parents. Okay, so make friends with your child's friends' parents. Why?
Because
1 second, I'm buying you enough time right now.
bruv, this is the thing. Well done. Little hosting secret there, yeah? Learn. So, we got your back, like, I want pay
His
after
brain
this.
is like,
Yeah. I want pain after this. Right. So, when there's nothing worse, and I'm talking from experience here, there's nothing worse when your child is friends with somebody else and they are at it. You go to pick them up after school and they're, let's go to the park, and they're talking and they're this and that and the other. You look at the parent looks at you and you're like, yeah. And then you're stuck in that awkward moment. You don't know the youth's name.
okay.
Then the youth looks at you and says, bye, blah, blah, blah. Then the parent looks at you and it says, bye, blah, blah, blah.
And you say, look after yourself. I'll see you next week. Okay, cool. All right, this makes sense. I like it.
Go on, throw the question again.
Rah.
Quick fire advice for old parents. We're going to move on to our next one.
That wasn't the question you just asked him.
Quick fire do's for old parents. Buddy.
All right, I'll give you more time.
No, go on. Find an activity for your child to do. There should always be an activity that you put for your child to be able to do. So, for example, my child goes football. I find that as an activity that I can take him to, that we can bond on, and that we can...
So you have an interest in it as well?
I have an interest in it as well. I wanted to see him excel. He's now got an interest in it.
And he enjoys it.
So it's now a case of we bond on this regardless. And it's funny because when he the very beginning, I took him to, he was probably about 3 or 4, got kits of him, pictures of him in a kit. And...
It didn't work out, innit?
It was no interest.
Yeah,
it was like, why are you taking to this? But I still took him...
We went together, you remember?
Yeah, we actually went together. It's funny enough. And we took him to Tottenham and he was playing for Tottenham. And it was like, oh, this is great. Like, look, the journey is Project eMpTy has started. So I'm now gassed. And
Quick fire. Still looking at quick fire.
Yeah, I'll round it up. All right, he wasn't caring. But when he got to the age that he's now, he's watching football. He's playing football. He's asking me about
He's learning players' names.
He knows players' names. Who played last night? Are they won? What does that mean to the table? I'm like, right, everything's just changed. And having that bond with him is amazing.
Okay, so a couple other things. Books are not punishment.
Straight up.
Yeah, that's
That was a good one.
Yeah. And this leads me on to my next segment. So books are not punishment. Storytelling is vital. Do you know what I mean? Do not lock your child's imagination. So these are things that I think is very important. So myself and my ex were having a conversation about our daughter, and she is extremely creative. But she's the kind of child that will go out, find a buttercup in a meadow, pick it up and put it in her pocket.
Mash up your washing.
Yeah, mash up the washing, but that's irrelevant. Come up and say, look what I found. And have a whole story about the buttercup and the bumblebee that landed on the buttercup and blah, 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 blah. So it's about allowing your child to keep that imaginative state open and not to be ruled by now your iPads and your tablets and your blah, 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 where they get brain drained into thinking down this quite stringent path. Now, I'm then going to turn around and throw a curveball. Do's and don'ts. I've written, extended families. So, what are the rules when your partner already has a child? Or you already have a child, and now you have what's called a blended extended family.
So what are the rules of being a step parent is what you're asking?
Step parent, but I'm more thinking in merging the families.
So yes,
okay.
blending the families, because yes, you become a step parent, but there's also now another person in your child's life, for example. So what rules can we implement with this in mind?
So kids are very, very visual. You do anything to show that there's a difference between A and B, and that child would pick that up. So off the cuff, first rule, everybody is equal. Whatever rule goes for one, obviously has to go for the other. However, I know it's easier said than done, because obviously if you've got two families coming together, each family has its own dynamics, each family has its own rules, each family has its own tolerance, acceptance levels, but it's very, very important. And yeah, I can't stress it enough that there is some kind of uniformity, so that when there is a situation where one person may have a different opinion to the other, it's not resolved in, but mum said I can do this and dad said no. If it means taking a knee for that moment, take that knee and then have that discussion after, if you haven't had that discussion already. Because it's easy for me to say, yeah, make sure the two of you are evenly yoked.
So I'm gonna help you out. Firm ground rules.
The thing is, I want to say firm ground rules, but it's more ground rules for the parents. Because you may say you can watch TV and eat food at the same time, at dinner time. I may be like, nah, dinner time, TV goes off, you can talk to me and anybody else at the table, the TV's off. Now, that's something that, it sounds very minor, but it can cause a rift. Because this child's used to, it's dinner time, I'm going to sit down, box of my food, and watch TV, don't talk to me. That's my time. There are other people that, in my household, TV goes off. It has to go. I don't care if you just sit down and look at me in my eyes. The TV is off. And what that promotes is, how was your day? What did you do? Oh, this is nice. I don't like that. As basic as that. Mm-hmm. So for me, you need to be able to have that kind of connection. And if there is a disagreement, somebody takes a knee. If you can't read the room,
I don't know you're pointing at, bro.
I'm just exercising my arm. I don't know why you are responding, but if you want to take that mantle, that's
turn?
fine.
I'm just saying. So for me, and a bit similar, I'll probably just clarify this point, equality. There needs to be equality within...
Your damn teeth.
No, bruv, you didn't say it. I was waiting.
Your damn teeth.
You never dropped it.
Look, Jay's looking at you like, side man.
Ultimately, it's equality. I can't have a rule for my son or daughter, all right, and then you have a rule for your son or daughter.
To challenge you back, bro, is it equality though?
It has to be,
because you've raised your child with a service standard, and you're now meeting a young person that has a different service standard because it's not your service standard.
It's not my standard.
So can you expect your partner's child to be at your child's service standard level? If you get what I mean. Do you know what I mean? So as much as you say equality, if in that same situation as Sorelli, your partner's child says, my mummy lets me put the TV on, why you not let me put it on?
But
do you get? I'm just making an example.
Because what you just said, what he just said, causes a problem. And because all of a sudden, I'm sitting there with stepdad Sorelli saying to myself, what do you mean now I can't watch TV? I don't like you. I now don't like you. No matter what you say,
I'm glad that you look at me in that way. That's very...
you know what?
Thank you very much.
Anyway,
that's quite nice.
I look at you and I say, I don't like you. And you know what? I'll be very real. I've been in that situation before where it's like having somebody else there trying to implement their rules on you, and I'm like, well, these are your rules and what you live to.
Don't come and mash up my good thing.
My good thing is I go to my room, I go play computer after I finish school. Why are you not saying go read a book and do an assignment? Who are you talking to? When did your name become Mr. Buddy? Like you ain't my dad, so you can't turn and tell me nothing.
Ah, them bars there.
No, it's very important.
Bruv, this is the ground. This is what causes a lot of risk because you can't tell me nothing. You're not my dad, so don't tell me what I can and can't do. I am going to do what my mum said I used to be able to do and go and play computer. Now, when mum now turns and says, well, do what Mr. Buddy just said and said, what the hell? When did he become
When did
Mr.
you
Buddy?
become an Egypt?
Yeah.
And who's this guy now changing the rules?
Yeah, are you mad? Now, I will do whatever.
Do you know what? I like that. I like that point. I think it's an honest point. Thank you very much for sharing that. And what I like even more about it, about Mr. Buddy in this situation, as you just shared, is that the service standard. Because Mr. Buddy is used to a certain service standard. And younger Buddy ain't used to this service standard. So now, you trying to come and implement your rules on my good thing, you have now created a brand new enemy. Sorelli, I think you need to come with another one.
Don't fight for power in the house.
Don't fight for power. So do you assume power?
Power is something that's bestowed upon you.
Okay, so we've got no Yoda in the yard. so
I'm just saying because...
Well, I'm going to jump in at this point because I like it, but I don't like it. So I think if you go in firm, clear, and fair, right? I should have written that down, innit? I'm going to forget it. But firm, fair, and clear. So whatever your directives are, make sure they follow those three things and make sure it makes sense. And everyone has a clear understanding.
So I'm going to take it back to my original thing before you interrupted. Don't fight for power. Now, don't get me wrong. What you've said is amazing. And in a perfect, ideal situation, you are 100% right. However, before we even get to that kind of level of thinking and understanding, don't fight for dominancy. Don't fight for power. Don't put yourself in the race to begin with.
I actually disagree with you again.
Do
you know why?
Wait, let me finish.
That's his one, yeah?
For me...
That's your one?
Yeah.
He's right.
For me, if you put yourself in the race, you're now a competitor. And people will see you as that kind of, oh yeah, so I'm competing against him. So there's ways you can talk and there's ways I could make a statement and I could make a suggestion. I can ask a question. If, however, I make a statement, you challenge my statement, and then the two of us are going back and forth. Okay, you're going to bed now. It's 8:30.
Who used to tell me to go to bed?
As soon as I engage in, you are going to bed now.
Who are you to tell me to go to bed?
I've lost. I make that statement, you're going to bed now. Done. I'm not arguing with you.
And I don't like you.
It don't matter if you don't like me or not.
It does.
I am not going to engage in a power struggle thing with you.
You're dating my mum.
That's mine.
I don't like you.
He's
I
beating
hold
him
the
up.
keys to the pumps.
Yeah.
And I'm 11. So you can't tell me.
You can't tell me nothing.
Timestamp.
If he has keys to the umsk, then you're in the wrong relationship, just leave.
No. It doesn't work like that.
Do you know
It's
why?
true.
Because
you might meet the child after 6 months of dating the mum.
Fine.
And now you've now been introduced. You've come into the household and you've noticed an anomaly, and you've now tried to come and bring your outside energy into my space.
So if I upset you, you're saying that you can lock off my umps because now you're upset, you're barling.
Do you know what?
Do you know what? Technically, yes.
Yes.
Yes, because I could turn and say to
Mummy,
myself,
I got a bellyache. Mummy, I got a
Hey,
bellyache.
Jay, you know what sound like talking from experience?
Bruv, the truth,
Bruv.
AKA.
the truth. Because this is the thing, bro.
The truth,
I lock it off, fam. And then not only that, I'm an influence. I'm in their ear.
Buddy is trending in the yard. Buddy walks into the yard and is trending.
Do you know? Look how he came out late. Look how he doesn't even take off his shoes. Look, mummy. See, these are the things you don't like.
Informer, you sit there.
I'm 11. I need to win.
Like, I don't like it.
Wait. Jay's coming in on this. Jay, where's your mic? Where's your mic, Jay?
No, I mean, before Jay steps in. But what I'm saying is, he's not wrong. I can't turn around and say that you do not need to find a way to get the pitney them on side.
Fact.
How you do that is
you, man.
It's no. So you've probably been out of the game for too long.
Probably.
I'm turning around and saying.
So you're telling with a PS5?
No,
go,
but you can't walk into
bro.
but maybe,
no.
No, maybe. Okay, maybe.
No. I said
no.
maybe,
He said
but no.
maybe, but no. He
But
did
no,
say that.
I said but no.
But what I'm saying is, sometimes you need to walk with the olive branch, and the olive branch, and this is a citrus technique straight out the locker. Is I'm going to get myself and the you on the same team in something. So we are now teammates, and I'll create a new common enemy.
So I'm agree with him, but I'm gonna disagree only on one point. I'm not actually doing it to get the umps.
Buddy, everything Buddy does. Everything Buddy's doing is to try to get two cheeks.
So you're on.
Let's not chat.
Me and the 5-year-old are going to be bridges just for the fun of it.
No. To create. Yes,
Bro,
no.
you must
yes,
be
you
so
know to
much
him.
fun around schools.
No, you're an idiot.
Buddy's here. Do
you know why?
Jay, are you hearing this madness?
Nah.
My man's getting ready to private schools.
What's your name? Pepper. What's your name? George. What's your name? AKA the truth.
My man's making fun. I need some new friends. Let's go around the local primary school.
My name is Pepper. My name is George. My name is AKA the truth. Let's
Not for cheeks. You're just making friends with 5-year-olds for fun.
No. You're not saying it. You see what? The worst thing is, I can get everybody on side because you're chatting the most amount of smoke. All right?
For fun.
Brother, at the end of the day...
It made me cry. I'm sorry. It made me cry.
Fun for 5-year-olds for fun.
Bro, I'm saying to you...
FFF.
First off, we never said there was all 5-year-olds. But anyway...
All right.
I'm saying to you...
We're good.
At the end of the day...
I need a drink.
There's bear right there.
Yeah, bring it.
I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, you're trying to create a relationship with the family that you're trying to build, innit? All right? So on all realness and after all of the jokes that you're trying to say, I'm trying to create a foundation. And I'm saying this to you for a reason, because you lot are sitting there saying that. I'm looking back at it and thinking to myself, approach me on a different level rather than trying to put authority down and put your foot down on something that at the end of the day, I'm not your relative. I'm nothing to do with you. I don't even know you. You're not even my friend. All right. So when you now come in there and say to me, "Go to your bed. It's bedtime." Who the f are you talking to? Like, my mum tells me to go to bed, not you. And then mum comes in there and goes, "Oh, I think it's time for you to go to bed." Oh, bitch! Listen, woman. Why are you not stepping up and telling him who's he talking to? You're supposed to be on my team. Like, we're together. Like, this is a newbie right here. So at the end of the day, I'm saying you're getting on side because you're saying to yourself, you know what, we're creating something. And I need you to understand that we're cool because I'm trying to create something. If you're telling me this is a link, then we're talking a totally different story. All right. But we're saying that we're trying to create a family. I'm sitting there saying to you, that person needs to be wanting to be my friend or wanted to do nice things with me and wanted to set his foundations, because if 9 o'clock is the bedtime that he says as in his household, because that's what time his son goes to bed, he now needs to turn and say, well, boy, I need to speak to my partner and say, babe, I think 9 o'clock is an adequate bedtime for children to go to their bed. This is the time that my child will be going to his bed. Regardless of your child going to bed at 12 o'clock at midnight, my child is going to bed at 9 o'clock because that is his set bedtime. All right. Now, I think that's an adequate time. And this is a conversation that me and you need to have. All right. And once we've had the conversation, she needs to then have the conversation with her child, not me, because me coming over all of a sudden and saying, your bedtime's no longer 12 o'clock, bro. It's 9 o'clock because that's daddy time. I'm looking at him saying, who the are you talking to?
You sound creepy. You sound like a...
But that's the truth of it, though.
You're a creepy stepdad.
Yeah, you got some underlying issues, bro. We can talk about this off air if you want to.
Creepy.
You're a bunch of dickheads, bro.
You're definitely creepy.
Yeah, same.
But Pepper, George, and the truth, that flipping tickled me, bruv. So
he like.
So bringing it back to what Citrus is saying, which I really, really like. I think what we're trying to say, I suppose, when you take it all and you put it into that pot and whatnot, is whoever you do date as a man or as a female, make sure that you and that partner are on the same page, especially when it comes to kids. Because that is the difference between happy home, catching peace, and war. And that's the only word I can use, because when things fall
what
apart...
Buddy said was quite confrontational, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's war.
What do you mean? What part?
Who are you telling?
Yeah.
If a child says that to me...
How old's the child?
That's irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
No, but it is relevant. Because
No.
The 13-year-old...
If a child turns around and says to me, who are you talking to? For me to then engage with a child and have the conversation, I'm talking to you, Tyrell. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, Jay.
Jay's like, I know that you. Jay's like, I know that you.
How do you know my cousin? No. But I'm talking to you, Tyrell, and I'm just thinking,
because you're bringing yourself down.
Am I going to have a conversation with a 13-year-old about this? No, I'm not.
You're bringing yourself down to that.
As you said, I'll be like, cool. You do your thing, I'll speak to your mum, I'll let your mum handle it. Because at that point, I've realised you're here for battle, innit? You're armoured up. I'm not armoured up, I come here in peace.
Sorry, imagine he turned and say to you, yeah, that's right, you back down, you look cool.
Then, to be fair, you shouldn't be there.
I'm just asking.
The difference is, I wouldn't be in a situation and a scenario that will paint that as a response. It wouldn't, do you know what I mean?
You'll put him in the sink.
I just do bare other things, do you know what I mean? Like,
your mum gonna hold it. Your mum gonna pay for that statement. Alright, carry on.
Yo. But the reality is, when we speak about extended families, that there are lots of do's and don'ts. And I think this was quite interesting, especially our age, because in our age bracket and those that are 30 plus, especially, and the one thing that I wrote down is common ground. There definitely needs to be a point of common ground, because obviously for the child, their life is changing. What they're used to is that they're now having to share the most important person in their life with you. Do you know what I mean? That might be to from the females, who's now there's a man, and for the mums, now you're parenting children that are not yours, and for the fathers, exactly the same thing. Do you get what I mean? So there needs to be an understanding, and I think the integration period needs to be managed very carefully. Yeah. I think you need to be able to get a feel of the individual. Do you know what I mean? It's just like anything. You know what I mean? When you're at work and we're used to working a certain way, a new boss comes in and says, from now on, we're starting work 45 minutes earlier and we're going to leave 25 minutes later. Immediately, everyone's back goes up, because you've come into our environment, you're now trying to change it to make it your thing and put your stamp on it, but you don't understand the energy and how this place works. You've now come and try and impose whatever you've got that lives in your head, thinking it's going to work, and we now don't like you. As Buddy said, you've now created yourself an issue. So, timestamp. What do you then do as parents if you now have a big age gap? So I'm saying from your eldest child, if there is I'm going to say a 15-year gap between your eldest child and your next child. What parental advice can we give to those types of parents? I know a couple.
What age between the two children?
So if there's a 15-year or more age gap between children,
Between any kids.
what support and advice can we offer with the do's and don'ts?
My 15-year-old can now babysit, right? No? So I can't go out reading. I'll just check it. I was just checking what was the legal standard, right?
And this is the truth.
I just checking it was okay.
So it's funny you should say that, because I look at it and I think, as dumb as it sounds, I don't think you do anything. I think if there's a 15-year or more gap, I think you obviously have a conversation with the said party, the eldest, to explain their 15-year-old or older, whatever the case may be, and say this is what it is. But ultimately, it's that 15-year-old is I want to take it for granted and say intelligent enough, but in that mind space that they can handle a change like this. And you explain to them and tell them what it is, and at that point, no, you I suppose you do a buddy bar and just tell them the truth. This is what it is. This is what's happening. There's a new member to the family. I'm not going to depend on you, but your input would be highly, highly appreciated. You've now got the opportunity to almost have your influence, and I want to call it a test run of what life would be like for you when you have a child.
Sorry, I have to jump in. Because let's be real. And the funniest thing is, we've all got younger siblings in this room, all right? And let's just be real. Back in the day, you're older than your siblings, and you're telling me that you're not getting hit with the responsibility of your babysitting. Please tell me that don't happen.
I match you and I respond with, the way you was raised, if you could change it now, would you?
No.
So you do...
No. And even the choke... No,
Can we have a moment where we just...
Yeah, bruv.
No,
Yeah.
do you know why? Do you know why?
Jeez,
do you know what?
jeez.
Do you know what's so weird, right? And I'm glad we started.
You know when you never got beats?
Do you know? Do you know why? Do you know why I'm going to say this to you? Because it's going to lead on to something else that there's actually been mentioned in the chat, and where we're going to go if we're going to even touch on it. All right, quite a serious incident. The way that we was raised made us the people that we are today. All
We're
right,
not disputing that.
all right, and without the rate, like I look at some of these kids, the people that are being raised now, and I'm thinking, so rah, like you get away with this, you get away with that, you get what, all right, you get away with this, you get away with that, you get away with so much things in life, all right. And I always think to myself, oh, this is great. They get PlayStations, they get VRs, they get phones. We never had phones on our days like that. All right, they get so many brilliant things. And
Speak for yourself, old boy.
No, but I think that their life, I look at it and think, oh, I would love to be raised in their generation because it was easy. Like you get licked by your parent right now. You go on social line, parent, lick me again if you're bad. It's one of them ones right now.
So you're saying the only reason why you are Buddy the Truth is because of the head bust you got when you was a youth?
Yes, it's part of it. I mean, there was certain
We
things.
need to start calling you so program.
Bruv, no, I'll be real about it, bruv. Like, I know so many bad people to say to myself, I could have rolled with them that was licking secure vans and robbing shops and stealing Rolexes and boring up this person and beating up that person. But you know what the truth is? I don't want to hang around with them because you know what? If my mum ever got hold of me with that, when I was younger, I believe she got hold of me, my ass is getting bust. So you know what my thing is? I'm going to find my way home. You man do what you got to do. I'll speak to you tomorrow. See you later. Bye-bye.
Question. So, just for clarity, you did not do those things because if you did, you would have got beaten.
I'd have got licks. My mum...
Hold on, my question. Yeah.
And I'm answering it. Do you want me to
Would
answer
you
it?
have... You've answered it.
I haven't finished.
No. I don't want your full 20-minute
It's not a 20-minute
explanation. Go on.
My ass would have got bust. And not only that, It's the respect I had for my mum that she's instilled in me, all right, to know to myself at the end of the day, I ain't gonna try and embarrass my mother like that. You get what I'm saying?
Would you have had that respect without her busting your ass?
Do you know what? I can't say yes because I got the bus ass. So I can't sit there and say that
Okay, let me make it easier for you. Do you only respect people that have bust your ass?
No, but the only person that bust my ass was my mum.
But then that brings us back to the point, innit? If you're saying to me that there are people out there that you respect, they've never bust your ass, but you still respect them, that means they've somehow, and I'm not here to point a finger or judge or whatever, have earned your respect without busting your ass.
No, but the other side of it is, I knew to myself, I didn't want, if you was one of my uncles, let's just use yourself because we're using people in the room, all right? If you was one of my uncles, that I knew to myself, disrespect you, either one, you could probably potentially bust my ass, or two, you're going to tell my mum
But did they ever
bust
do it?
my ass. No, you could tell my mum, and then my mum would turn and say, you did what? Around Uncle Kim. I'm going to bust your ass.
But did they ever do that to you?
So I'm going to jump in at this point. I understand what you're saying. It's a disturbing statement. And I'll tell you why.
Sorry, Mum.
Because you think you're doing a very good job as being a parent, right?
But now, me, yeah.
Do you beat my godson?
No.
There's the answer to your question.
I'm not saying it's just down to
I'm just saying, do you beat my godson?
but-
And the answer is no. So I'm going to turn around and say there are lots of methods that my mum passed down to me that she got from my grandma and my granddad.
My mum never beat me.
And I can tell. We can tell.
Straight.
But
My granddad bust my ass.
But essentially, I realised from a very a young age, as in I was still a child, to say, my mum beating me the way she beat me, I wouldn't do this to my child. Because how I felt about my mum after the beating weren't I did wrong. It's
I hate her.
I hate you and I want you
Dead.
to die.
I want you to die. I hate you. I hate you.
You should never have that feeling.
Love your mum now, though, right?
That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? So I'm turning around and saying, I would never want for me to discipline my child and they turn around and think, I can't wait for dad to die.
No.
And I'm just giving you, it's a very, very far extreme.
It's not though, Citrus. You say that, but it's not, bruv.
I'm telling you, this is my truth, innit? So I'm saying this is a feeling that I had, and I'm thinking, now as an older man, I was like, what was going through my head that made me think to myself, I wish my mum had died? Do you know how mad that is? Now, I've said this on many podcasts before. My mum was very young, 22 years old when she had me, and she already had twins. Do you know what I mean? What would now be seen on the spectrum, autistic twins. But then it was naughty
You're just
kids.
bad. You're just bad kid.
Yeah. And I'm hyperactive. So for my mum to be able to deal with us, licks, and go to your bed. And then for me to go to sleep crying into my pillow thinking I hate my mum, I've very soon realised it's not the way. And I'm not saying I'm the perfect parent, but when I speak to my children, especially my eldest is 20 years old now, and she's very respectful. She holds herself, you know what I mean, in a very good stance. Do you know what I mean? I can walk her into a room full of strangers and I'm more than comfortable on how she carries herself. And I put that down to, I'm just going to finish. I put that down to the parental roles that I had as her father and her mum had as her mother. And that blend got her to where she is right now.
How many times did you beat her?
Never once, not even once.
I never said it was just down to beatings, though.
But it played a very big part. And you mentioned it in your example.
I mentioned in my example because it was how I was brought up. But you said to me, would I change how I was brought up? Would I change the way that my mum brought me up? I mean,
So you enjoyed the beats?
I never enjoyed the beats. No one enjoys beatings and discipline.
But you said you want to change it.
No, but I would. There's certain things that it helped with. You know when, like, nowadays.
So you needed the beats?
No, Sorelli.
No, the wickedest thing is to let, like, I want him to finish his point, but I think in how he raises his, and weirdly enough, this merges onto my next question, so I'm going to blend the two, is the next question is, are we going to parent our children the way we were parented? So, because we're talking about it now, I'm just going to merge it together, but just, sorry, Buddy, using you as an example, is Buddy got beats, I don't think they were effective beats, let's be honest. But Buddy got beats anyway. However them beats affected him, he realised very soon he doesn't need to use that same method in raising his children and child. So with that in mind, he's now raising his child without beating. So he's found other methods to discipline my godson. Do you know what I mean? And even when I speak to my godson, he's like, and I can see his chest is pumped up. But sorry if I'm out of turn, but his chest is pumped up. His eyes are like almost illuminated, and it's like, and all Buddy has to do is speak to his son, and then straight away the whole energy in the space changes. Now, we got spoken to, the energy changed, and then we got beat on top. So it was like, rah, the speaking to was enough. Do you know what I mean? So when Buddy spoke about Uncle Kim, the speaking was enough. We didn't now need to follow up, because just the idea of the beats was enough to make Buddy fall in line. And as a father, I realized just the idea of me being able to use my voice and me being the person that I am was enough to be able to stop my children acting in the way I didn't want them to act.
But can I make a very serious point?
Yeah.
And now it's away from what I was talking about before, but we're saying this as men, and you're not realizing to yourself, as men raising men or even daughters, all right, or women, all right, it's like very different from a woman raising a son, raising a man, raising.
I disagree.
No, it is very different, because at this point, how does she, in her eyes, how does she now show her discipline? She's gonna shout and she's gonna scream. She might try and beat. Like, as a man, my dad never put his hands on me.
So say that again. She's gonna
shout and she might scream. But I'm saying to you, as my dad never put his hands on me. In fact, there was probably it was my godmother's partner, which was the only man, I'm trying to go through my head now, but the only man I can remember putting his hand on me as an adult, all right? And turning and saying, yeah, he's going to beat me.
Dad?
My dad never put his hand on me. Man, never, not once has my dad ever hit me, all right?
Yeah, that's still there to come.
My dad won't hit me.
now he gonna get something back.
Yeah, he's got credit.
but my mum beat me before, like straight up and down. My aunts
So the
beat
only
me.
male that beat you
Was actually not even related to me. Funny enough, when I think about it, it was my aunt's partner.
So yeah, getting charity licks.
Bruv, we was all getting licks. So the other children my other cousins were getting licks, so I got licks as well. It was just a part of you're getting it, they're getting it, we're all getting it. I was like, fine, all right. But when I look at it, men don't really usually, because a man turns and says, I'm gonna lick you, it was like, yo, all right, big man, safe, like, let me leave it alone. A woman sitting there going, I'm gonna lick, shut up, man, it's cool. So women, when they do now turn and say, I'm gonna lick you, they lick you. So I see where, especially black women back in the day, I believe to myself, this was just a thing that just happened. We got licks. It was just a thing. And you said you didn't get licks. I understand that. So when Citrus is telling his story,
Relly said he didn't. His parents. I'm gonna hold your hand. Relly said his parents didn't beat him. We already know Rain's parents never beat him. Do you know what I mean? Now look how much of a disciplinarian
Rain is.
Sorelli and Rain is.
Listen to this story. The one time my mum, I can't even call it beat, disciplined me was in front of my two youngest siblings. My mum has 8 kids, and the 2 youngest, I'm driving. I'm sure I've said this story before. I'm driving. I've bought a car, so I'm old enough to drive. My mum says to me, you're taking me shopping now. I start working 2 hours, but I live in your yard. You say I'm going shopping, we go shopping. We go shopping. My car's brand new, fresh. Still smells like the showroom. I get to the Tesco car park. You know, if you go close to the Tesco car park and you park there, someone go open the door and ding your whip. So I park in one of those bays that, you know, as soon as you walk into the car park, I park there. My mum looks at me and goes,
get closer.
Why did you park so far? Me and my brave, dumb self says, you said you wanted to do exercise anyway.
Russ,
you're asking for lips.
I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
This is in the don'ts.
Don't do that.
I didn't get beat. I got a clean 5-fingered slap across the face. It wasn't hard. the shock of it happening and the feeling of disrespect that you've just done that to me made me cry.
Straight
I said the same thing, bro.
Straight up. Because it wasn't you hurt me or anything like that. It was like, you just slapped me. And you slapped me in front of the two youths.
Time stamping that.
They started bawling. Everything was calm. It was the living music I still got bass. Music is still playing, and I've got water trickling down my cheeks. The two youths in the back are looking at me like, wait. You got slapped. That means if mum is vexed with me, she got, we are dead. I drove up to the Tesco, dropped her off, and went back to that car park space and sat there with, you know when the tears dry on your face and you got that white line? And I'm in my early teens.
Too much salt in your diet.
Yeah, too much salt. But the point I'm making is that it was so, she didn't need to beat me. It was the respect that she had, that I had for her, that it was, bruv, it was a dibby. It wasn't even a slap to say.
It was more shock.
It was more shock, and it was more this is how much authority you have over me.
Or that you're at Usil. But it's fine though. We'll
Bruv,
whichever way
you know what? Mum, yes. Whatever Lee's saying, I'm cool with that. But it was, yeah. Mud stuff. It's whatever. She had that kind of authority. She had that respect from me that made me say to myself, you know what? I'm just going to hold it and I still had to sit there, wait for her to go do the shopping. They go carry the shopping, put it back in the car and take her home.
But there is an interesting point, and I really wanted to bring this up. When itching, and like I said, it's been said in the live already, all right, and I don't want to glaze over it and not touch it. And I don't know if Citrus is actually going to bring it up as a point, and it was his story he actually brought to me. But there was a 15-year-old girl that was stabbed this week, schoolgirl, by a 17-year-old, stabbed in the neck and died. I mean, R.I.P. and thoughts go out to her family. And this happened from a 17-year-old. A 17-year-old done this. Now, there's been so many stabbings that have been done by these teenagers. And I sit there and I think to myself, teenagers.
Yeah,
and
let's call them kids, innit?
They're kids. They're children. And I look at it and I know teenagers now. Like my niece is a teenager. Citrus's daughter, some of his daughters are teenagers. Two of them are teenagers. Well, no, you've passed that now. So it's like, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, these teenagers are now doing this. And I know, like I said, kids that we've spoken about that you guys have got, my nieces and that. And I'm like, you're kids. And I look at it and think, how have you done this to another human being? This could only be from upbringing, because I could not imagine our younger children that we've got in the room, all right, going around and saying, yeah, in the next 5 years, saying, yeah, I just stabbed someone, I just killed someone. Are you mad? Like, how does that even happen? Now, I remember even now, to this day, I sit there and I think to myself, this has something to do with the parenting. This has something to do with, why has the parents not changed this? Were they not getting enough licks at home? Was they not getting enough discipline at home? Is it a broken home? Is it a case of the mum's on her own? Is it the case of the dad's on his own? Is it the case of the mum and dad are just like, just do what you want, son? And now they're not, yeah, I'm just gonna pick up this blade and I'm gonna stab someone. What is the cause of it? And what is the change that we can make even from this podcast to turn and say, how can we help this situation? How can we tell people this is the better way to raise your child so this type of thing doesn't happen? And this is when you're saying do's and don'ts of parenting. It's one of the main things that I actually want to say today, to say, what are the do's and don'ts? What can we do to stop people's children or help people say, stop doing this? And I will timestamp this and say, this will be what's going out. This is what I want to go viral.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in with a couple of points. Now, obviously, we need to show respect to the young lady that's lost her life. And also hold a prayer for the young man that made this decision, because everything's crazy. It's not going to make sense. And someone's going to hear this and think, what am I talking about? And I'm going to explain it. So there comes a point in everyone's life when this young man decided to himself, I'm going to buy or acquire the blade. It was a 15-inch blade. This wasn't, I'm going to send you a message. Do you get what I mean?
Because she was stabbed multiple times.
So he's left his house with this blade. Right. So cognitively, he said to himself, just in case anything kicks off today, I'm tooled up. Problem number one. Problem number two, whatever the confrontation looked like and however it unfolded is neither here nor there. But a decision was then made for him to draw for this tool. Right? There comes a process in your head where it's like, I'm going to be this angry, I'm going to make this choice.
Because he didn't feel threatened. It wasn't a case of he was defending himself.
So then there's the second issue. The third issue is, I'm actually going to physically do it. Now, as me speaking through it, it sounds a little bit cold, but if you think to yourself, all of these processes had to have gone through this person's head for them to make the choice that they've made. Now, after this point, it's irrelevant because the young lady lost her life. But there was a sequence that took place before all of these things took place, where Buddy says, excuse me, I was too scared to make the wrong move because my mum would have made sure I would have been finished prior to even owning a knife, let alone a knife of that size. If I did own a knife of that size, leaving the house with it, even if I left the house with it, actually using it. So you have to think to yourself, as much as it's terrible news, there are a sequence of events that took place prior to the physical act, where you have to then ask the question to see what actually happened. Now, as bad as it is, and as horrible as it is, I'm going to plead with other parents or potential parents that may watch this podcast and think to themselves, at what point do you think your child is going to acquire an article, a bladed article? What point do you think they're going to carry a bladed article? What point do you think they're going to utilize a bladed article? And so far as, and we've seen this subsequently, that there was almost boasting about it on a Snapchat. So there is so many layers that go to this. You then have to think to yourself that these people are desensitized from reality.
I mean, I have to say something, and it's not even a defense. It's an excuse, so I do apologize in advance because I've heard it before, but I've got to put it out there so everybody can hear it. And it is basically, some of these things are taken. Certain people walk with a blade because it's self-defense. I need self-defense. Why do you need self-defense? Well, because I come from X area, and I know a man from the X area are bad man. And if I'm walking around in that type of area or vicinity, I need to make sure that I'm tooled up because they could just come and they can just attack me. So I'm gonna walk with a blade. And I'm like, we've come a long way. I mean, we're a lot older now. And I know to myself that there was times where certain men them were walking with blades, they're walking with this and they was walking with that. So I understand it, but I also sit there and think to myself,
I'm gonna come straight back at you and challenge it. And I'll tell you why. Because with that, one thing you have to latch onto, and you have to also remember, is that regardless, if I'm saying I'm going to walk with one or not walk with one, like the area is dangerous, the area is not dangerous, I know it sounds mad, that's irrelevant. And the reason why it's irrelevant is because on a society stage, it's accepted that I'm allowed to walk with mine, so you better walk with yours. And you're going to turn around and say, well, I'm going to walk with mine because I know Citrus, who hangs around my area, will have his.
Yeah.
And if I buck him, it's mad.
It's mad.
So it comes through a societal change, right? Now, I'm not saying that the world is perfect, but in Glasgow, they had a huge issue with drugs, gun crime, and knife crime, and they reduced it dramatically. I mean, when I say dramatically, from being one of the worst areas in the UK to one of the best. So there is something you can do with step change regarding education and understanding. Now, I'm turning around and saying, from a parent's point of view, and my first 3 children are females. So in my head, I didn't care about gun crime and knife crime because the likelihood of them getting involved in it was little to none.
In your mind.
In my mind, exactly. But my youngest are boys. And I'm like, well, I can't now think that they're not going to be involved because that's a them problem, not an us problem. So the knowledge, the education, the understanding, the status of foreplay in the mind of what's going to happen if I do this, you need to live that reality out. To turn around and say, if I leave my house doing this, the outcome of this is that.
See, and it's funny, and I have to jump in a little bit, is my uncle was putting a petition up after my cousin got killed, and it was based around that, basically saying you carry a knife, you get more time for carrying a knife. Is it now? So I don't want to stray too much on that point. I mean, it's been a few years anyway, but I mean, I don't want to stray too much on it. But it's like, do we now see to ourselves the government hindering how we parent children? And just to stay on the point, is this now a problem for and against? So, for example, you could help us by doing things, but like making longer sentences for carrying a knife, and then you hinder us at the same time by saying, if you hit your kids or beat your kids, then you could face this type of time or this type of problems or whatever. It's not, because there was a long period in time where, like I said in the beginning, I was parented with beats, you was parented with beats. At one point, you was parented with some kind of beats, all right, really. And it's like...
No, he said he was parented
with his granddad.
Not from his mum.
Not from his mum.
Yeah.
I was saying, so at one point he was.
But without sounding disrespectful, Sorelli's mum stepped into his life as a parent...
later on in my life.
Later on in his life. So he was raised by his grandparents. So let's not turn around and say...
Yeah, they were old school.
Yeah,
they were.
He was raised through a different method.
Yeah.
No. It's just that the primary parent was a grandparent rather than the maternal parent.
To hit that nail on the head, for whatever reason, as a child, you have a different level of respect for your grandparents than you do for your own parents.
I agree with that.
Because
they're the ultimate.
They're the ultimate.
Yeah.
And everybody else around you looks at them with this, this superior level of respect. So you can't come with your little dibby self and try to ramp with that, because everybody is like calling them mum and you know what I mean?
My granddad. That's the ultimate.
Yeah, it's like the sensei.
It's like
and
sensei thing.
Yeah, you can't just come and try and ramp with him. You and him are not on the same planet.
We can't have this discussion.
That was that kind of thing. But to jump in for a bit and to say, first of all, our hearts from the eMpTy podcast goes out to the family. We cannot imagine what you're going through right now. And this is for both families. Because yes, the young lady lost her life, and I'm not trying to take anything away from that. However, the young man also, I don't see kids as good or bad. I see them with bad judgment or lack of direction. And his life right now...
It's done.
And the thing is, Citrus, you know what? You're right. But to put a positive kind of feel out there in whatever the time is that if he did do it, or whatever the case may be, and this is all speculative because we don't have the facts and figures, when he does come out or whatever...
He admitted it.
Oh, did he?
On Snapchat.
Yeah, yes. Yes. We did see that.
You know what I mean?
So as Citrus, your life is going to take a vicious change from what you consider to be the norm, the routines, the lifestyle that you have, the freedom you have. That is over.
But I want to come back to the podcast theme about parenthood.
Yeah, so and this is what I'm coming with it. This is what I'm coming with it.
To lead to the parents.
So I want to just sympathise with the family because
sorry, just to paint the picture, because there are parents now who have young adults, children in their lives that are carrying weapons that are going to watch this podcast.
Yeah.
I can tell you that
100%.
for a matter of fact. So that being the case, once you've listened to this, like it, hate it, whatever the difference
This
is.
is the reality of life, innit?
This is the reality of life. So what do we do from this point to turn around and walk in the room and say, yo, Billy, I just watched the podcast.
But now, did you carry one?
This. What's your thoughts on
What's your
it?
thoughts? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What about your friends? I watched some of your drill videos. I watched some of this. I watched some of that. Tell me a little bit more about what's going on in your... What do you do after school? Do you know what I mean? I'm at work, so I don't see any... And this is the more difficult side. This is the part we don't want to talk about. But if more parents felt empowered enough to have this level of
Awkward conversation,
then the decision making of, am I going to leave my house with this knife or bladed article in, because I don't even like using the word knife, because Buddy said to me, the size of the weapon is no longer a knife, it's now a machete.
Machete.
Do you get what I mean? So with that in your mind, what conversations are taking place where mum or dad are turning around and saying, do you know what, I'm just not going to ask him, because if I ask him, he might get angry, he might do anything, blah, blah, blah. Do you get what I mean?
Do you know what it is? And this is the thing. You can't, there's nothing you could, like, sounds mad. They'll just turn and tell you, I'm not doing it or whatever. They're so heavily influenced by other sources that your influence isn't enough.
This is
This I disagree with.
False.
So hold on. Let me finish with this.
That's not
so
true.
There's two, for me personally, there's two aspects to this. The first aspect is you don't wait until there's a problem to address the problem.
To address it, yes.
This starts from when your child can call your name Dada, Mama. You need to be involved. You need to know who their friends are. You need to know where they are. You need to be involved in their life. So when earlier we were asking about things that you do, knowing your kids' friends' parents gives you an insight into what's going on. Now, as they grow, it changes and whatnot, but you need to have an interest in who his friends are.
At the end of the day, when Bailey walks into the room, and then he's like, here's Angelo, Darren, Augustine,
You
Tyrell,
need to know what he's talking about.
and
Adam.
No, so one of them's got to have a mad name like
Mo.
like Kingdom and Kingdom. His name's Kingdom, yeah, his name's Kingdom. But I need to know all of their parents, where they all live. I need to have their parents' numbers. I need to be able to contact their parents and say, yo.
So the level of respect they have for you will be very different.
To know.
It's just having that communication.
So
It's
I'm
being
involved
part of his
in
life.
that
It's
rhythm,
knowing,
yeah.
it's showing interest. You show interest in your friends. You show interest at work. You show interest at things that you are interested in yourself.
Yeah.
There is nothing more important than your kids. So therefore, you need to show interest in what is around them, even if it doesn't interest you.
1,000,000% agree with you, right? And it's weird. So do we now look at ourselves and say, not our probably kind of our generation, are we now the problem? Because we're looking at it and saying to ourselves, like, this person just did this and this person did that, but it's our children that are doing it.
It's evolution, bro.
So it's such a good point. And to be fair, I want to end on this point. But with what you've just said, yes, I will heavily doubt that the parent of this young man is younger than us.
Younger than us. Yeah, true.
So therefore, it's our generation, isn't it? We're talking to our peers about our sons and daughters, obviously, but in this instant, we're talking about our sons. It's our generation. And that's crazy, because the first person that comes to mind is my nephew, my godson, and he is at university now. Like, oh, uncle, can I get... like, it sounds so mad. He tried to get prawns. Do you know what I mean? Going to uni, and my daughter's like, you don't want prawns. We're not going to do that, because your money's going to run out real quick if you think you're going to eat prawns.
Uncle Spain, though.
But it's going to taste good for that night. But do you know what I mean? So that's who I think about when I think about these types of conversations. And the crazy thing is, the influence was placed way before the journey driving to university. However, if the influence wasn't placed, we now need to be able to empower our peers, do you know what I mean? Those that are having 16, 17, 18-year-olds, 15-year-olds in our circle group, and that could be anything from, and this is me just pushing a number out there, 33 years old or onwards. We need to be able to say to those parents, yo, chat to your kid.
I have to challenge you on that.
Have a conversation.
And the reason why I have to challenge you on that is not to say you're wrong, but to say that those parents that we're talking to that are in that age bracket cannot teach what they do not know themselves.
However, ask the question. And this is the only difference with anything else is ask the question. Do you know why? Because if the question gets asked by the judge, it's too late.
Yeah, but there are parents out there who don't see anything wrong with having a 16, 17-year-old being out on a school night at 8, 9 o'clock on road.
Really, that's not for you to judge.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
Because ultimately, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
There's nothing wrong with that, buddy. Do you know what I mean? Like I used to play football. Kickoff was at 8:30. Kickoff was at 8:30. This was on a Thursday. Kickoff was at 8:30. I never got home till something to 10. Right? Now, there are young people that are out doing this type of stuff. However, it was paramount that my football coach spoke to my mum to make sure she knew where I was and what I was doing. There was a connection. Now...
What about the non-connection?
So then this is where you now need to start making a very, very, very focused effort to turn around and say to yourself, what am I going to do in this moment to ensure I engage in my child's life?
Now, not to take it off too much track, you're a single parent. You have the 16-year-old.
You've got an 8-year-old. You've got a
5-year-old. You are going to work. You don't finish work until 6:30 or 6 o'clock, which at what time you're picking up the 7 and 5-year-old. The 16-year-old has this little window
to do whatever I want.
To do whatever they want.
Right. Now, where that comes in is, once again, when there's no connection. So you spoke about having a connection. And this is where it's important. So there are conversations along the lines of, when you get home, contact me. When you obviously, if you're leaving the house, let me know where you're going. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know what you're up to. So I'm constant in your life. Even if I haven't got the foggiest, you know that there is an accountability on the back of the action. And I don't even want to say this, but I can only draw on it as my reference point. And it's about Buddy's cousin. And Buddy spoke to us 3 years ago, maybe, about the family of the young man that took his cousin's life. And when Buddy explained it to me, obviously I was enraged because I knew his younger cousin. But the focus he shared about the family, it was like, this wasn't meant to happen. At no point was this meant to be the outcome of whatever had happened. And I presume right now, the parents of this young man that's taken this young woman's life, at no point did they think today our son is going to achieve this act. So coming back to it, there needs to be a point where we are so involved that even if our son is contemplating it, our face, our voice runs through their mind, or our daughter, to be fair, our face, our voice, our being runs through their mind before they make the decision. Hence why I'm saying there were so many actions that took place before the action that the failing is societal. It's not just him. We can't say it was just this young man or just that young man. The failing was way before that. And my issue is, I mean, we speak about youth clubs and youth centres, and I'm neither here nor there on that. However, I'm saying when you remove the pillars that supported us to make certain decisions away, and now I'm being guided as a 15-year-old by my 15-year-old brethren that knows no different to what I know, apart from listening to the same musical influences that we're being influenced by, to make these decisions that we think, oh yeah, it's all cool, until it's not cool. And then who told us it's not cool? The judge. That's slapping us on this 22-year sentence, 25-year sentence, life sentence. Do you get what I mean? There needs to be something that takes place before this process.
I must admit, I'm with you 100%. And there's one more thing I'd like to add to that, which is the youth of today have been desensitized. The empathy that we had as kids, the sympathy, the ability to look at something and feel that emotional connection, I think is not there now. Because from what's going around on social media at the moment, not only did this kid do this, but there's no remorse. There's no...
Yeah.
I don't know, and the thing is I don't know the kid, so I can't talk for him, but it doesn't seem from what is available to be read about what the situation is, that he even grasped the gravity of what's actually happened.
Yeah.
You've taken someone's life.
Clout, innit? Yeah.
Yeah. But does that mean social media has got that much of a hold over our younger generation that...
100%.
And this is the thing, so...
Social media can raise your child.
No, and this is the thing.
No. Social media will raise your child.
And this is... Thank you, Citrus.
Coming.
And that's the point I'm coming to.
It will raise your child.
If you are not in the...
Jay's turning around.
Yeah, if you're not in a position to be that pillar that your kid looks up to, social media will
step in and be the parent.
Easy.
1 second. So we're saying confidently, if we do not conquer parenthood, social media would do it for us.
100%.
And it's not just social media, the exterior wall of the world. And the reason why I use that is because it could be gameplay. And I don't blame violence on gameplay, but if you play something and it becomes the norm that you can shoot somebody, you can stab somebody, it desensitizes to you because you're exposed to it. The same principle that I used on vegetables on your plate, every meal, you see it, you get used to seeing it, so slowly your brain's like, it's not that bad, just bite a piece, man, just finish your plate. It's the same kind of attitude we have with, you stab somebody, you shot somebody, it's not that bad, they're dead, you move on to the next one. So you start to desensitize yourself to it. Now, I'm not saying that means now all these games where shooting and stabbing should be abandoned and whatnot. However, every child is different. Every child's ability to process things are different. Every child's guidance is different. So if you're not somebody who's actively explaining and showing and telling and giving them the examples of what consequences are for the smallest things to the biggest thing, as you say, media, social media, the world around them will embrace them and say, this is what you want. These are the things that will make you look good. These are the things that will make you feel good. It's not the truth, but this is the illusion that it gives.
I mean, I'm going to round up very, very shortly when Citrus calls it. But does this also bring you onto things like church and stuff like that and a belief in God? I mean, I'm not going to go on the biblical route because obviously we're finishing up and we're closing up now. But like also, that a lot of people have lost a lot of followings around that. Where like, I mean, I don't go to church all the time. I have a belief in God, a full belief, 100%. And I sit there and say to myself, I believe in God. I may go to church now and again. I try to pray to him now and again. I don't think I pray enough. I'll openly say that to the world. Like, I feel to myself, I need to pray more, not just when I need you, but sometimes just to say thank you for the fact that I'm breathing and I've got life and my family and my friends around me.
I'm going to call you tomorrow to make you pray.
No, and I do believe that. I like praying. I do believe to myself it's a good thing. But I didn't grow up inside of a church. For example, my mum probably grew up more inside of a church, but then she didn't force me to have to go to church. And if she did force me to go to church, then I'd probably be forcing my son to go to church because it's just ingrained in me and that's how I'd follow it. And we don't follow it up to say, if our parents had forced us to go to church, because there's people that I know that used to be forced to go to church, they would then now take their kids and go to church and follow the same line. And I'm not saying church is the guidance and that's the way that we're going to get away with it. Because I'm not very religious in that aspect. I'm very much a believer in God and a believer in understanding that there is a higher power and you need to do right. There is a right and there is a wrong. And these people are now doing wrong. And social media will give you hype and it will give you a lot of fun things that go on. And yeah, I'm a bad man. The bad man's earning money and he's doing this and he's stealing that and he's robbing this and he's trapping this and he's da-da-da. And it looks great. But I also know that that's wrong. You know what I mean? And I've grown up around that wrong and right type of system. So I try to install that into my child. And I'll always say to myself and say to him that, listen, I never want to see you trap. Yeah, it might make you money and might make you this. I don't want to see you trap. I don't want to see you steal. I don't want to see you rob. I don't want to see you killing no one. I never want to see you doing that. And it's something that's wrong. So I instill that belief in him, and the people that I have around me will instill that same belief inside of my child. Hence the reason why he's got the people in this room as godparents. You know what I mean? And I said to him, say to myself, instill that into my child and my children to come. Like, that's what I want them to be, to grow up on. And I feel to myself that we as parents, and I'm going into my closing, we as parents need to turn and say to ourselves, what is good and what is not good for the up and coming generation. And you can only do that with your own children first, and maybe the children that are in and around you, godchildren, cousins, nieces, nephews. Like, these are who you're going to be able to do that to immediately. There are others that you're not necessarily going to be everybody's godparent. So there are friends that are going to have kids, and I should be able to have that influence enough to turn and say, you know what, this is right and this is wrong. And we've got to be able to instill that into our kids. And if we don't, then we're going to be sitting there watching people get killed and then sit there and say, oh yeah, why did they do that? Well, they're doing it because they never knew any better. They seem to follow the social media. They seem to follow the hype. They seem to follow the things that think to themselves, well, you know, I can be a bad man and get away with it. Or I can be Scarface and I can get away with it. These things aren't real. You know what I mean? This isn't real life. And somebody's family is now hurting because of it. You know what I mean? In a big way, you know what I mean? I felt that hurt as a family, all right? And now knowing it, and I never knew it before, but now knowing it, I sit there and think to myself, it could have all been avoided. Why? Just because somebody was trying to be bigger than they actually needed to be, or somebody wasn't raised the way that they could have been raised. And there was warning signs. Not to go into the, obviously, history and all of that, there was loads of warning signs about the child, where he came from and his background, but nobody took those warning signs on board. You know what I mean? And that's, the outcome was my cousin lost his life. You know what I mean? I don't know what this kid's thing is now, all right? But at the end of the day, there was probably warning signs and people didn't parent the right way to get them into the right position now. So he's not going to take in somebody else's life. So yeah, RIP to the girl that's passed away. Big, you know what I mean? My heart really goes out to them and their family, all right? But we need to learn from these things. And like my cousin, I mean, I had a few years to get over it now, but like my cousin, we need to learn from these things and realize to ourselves, raising these children the correct way is the way that we're going to be able to advance our future. You know what I mean? And we are now in the position where it's not our parents, it's us. You know what I mean? How we're raising our kids and the kids that are growing up. And then also, in fact, as much as we're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I've got my kids now. Big kid, he's through it, he's got his kids, it's fine. You need to now raise your kid how to raise his kid. So your job's not done. You know what I mean? Otherwise, our society is always going to have this same said problem. And I'll leave that going off to Sorelli to close.
Thank you, Bud. It's a very important topic, and it's a very serious topic, and there's no room for jokes or clout or anything about it. I'm glad we touched on it tonight, and I'm glad we had this topic to explore the kind of early introduction into it. And thank you very much, Citrus, for the way you brought us into it.
Words by Sorelli.
Straight up.
Time.
And it's a shame, and it saddens me that this is happening in today's society. Now, we mentioned, or Buddy and Citrus mentioned about religion. Now, for me personally, I agree that religion should play a role in everyone's life, but that's my opinion. However, to layer something on top of that, if you take away the fact that it's religion and you look at the kind of underlining artery that runs through it, it's more to do with believing in something, having faith in something, and be it may, having faith in the right thing, believing in right and wrong, believing in karma, believing in Buddha, whatever it is you believe in. I believe everybody should have something that they believe in. Because when you believe in something, it's more than just, oh, you know it's right or you know it's wrong. When you believe in something, you don't necessarily need to have the evidence to believe in it. It's something that you have from the inside. So, for example, your mum, you believe in your mum. She may discipline you in a way that you don't necessarily agree with, but because you believe in her, you follow that. And that becomes the line that you toe throughout your life. So when we're talking about, more people should go to church and whatnot, I believe you should. However, more importantly, parents should raise their kids to believe in something. If you're religious, believe in God, believe in the word. If you're not religious, find something else for them to believe in. Karma, the truth, the balance of the universe. Whatever it is that whatever speaks to you. And for me, that is the underlying thing that society is missing. We have kids and we have humans and we have adults who don't believe anything. So they don't stand for anything. Nothing means that there's nothing that they probably think about their football club more than they think about anything else. And for me, if you don't have that kind of foundation, you can't build anything because you don't have nothing to build on. Now, I don't want to get I don't want to go too deep. But like I said earlier, our hearts go out to the family of both parties. It's a very, very, very sad day for both families. It's a very sad day for the youth of the UK. And it has to stop. And whatever you can do within yourself to be part of your kid's life, to show interest in what that person is into, even if it's something you're not into, you should do. Reach out to them. Find out where they are. Find out what they're doing. Find out what their interests are. Find out where you can play a part of their life where the two of you have a common ground, where you're not the parent and they are the child, but you're at a point where, I would never say equal, but you understand each other. You've got equilibrium where the two of you can talk about something and not play the I'm the parent, you're the child, where we're just cool. We can talk about this and be on the same page. So that's it for me. I'm not going to go into it too much, but like I said, it's a sad, sad day. So, love and peace to both of you, and may God bless both families.
Thank you very much, Sorelli. So this week's podcast was on parenthood, the do's and don'ts. And did we get do's and don'ts? Do you know what? I wrote 7 things down. We got through 2 out of the 7. But it's so big. It's such a huge, do you know what I mean? There's such a huge landscape. And when it comes down to parenthood, there's 1,001 different do's and don'ts. Do you know what I mean? There's cultural acceptances, there's societal acceptances, this is just the right thing to do. This is just what I saw on social media as a new parent, and I don't know how to parent, so I'm going to follow what this trend says because it's meant to work. Does it work? Doesn't it work? It's irrelevant, but we are where we are. So some of the do's was to talk through and get yourself with a support network. Now, what that support network looks like, we spoke about having peers, having family, making friends with your child's friends' parents. I mean, that's a bit of a tongue twister, but it does make sense. And putting yourself in a support network, because it's hard. And the rule book, as Buddy said, there's no one rule book. And as much as I laughed at him, he's right. There isn't buy this book on parenting and you'll be fine. There's none that's got the crown to say, let's do that and you'll be okay. But I would definitely recommend a support network. And a support network doesn't need to be family directly. There are so many other ways. And in wherever you are, if you just research and looked into kids clubs, parenting clubs, meeting up, do you know what I mean? There are free events that you can just bring your child to or your children to, and they'll have an amazing time, and you'll meet like-minded people where you can now forge these bonds that will give you the support that you're looking for. Because if you're going through something and you don't know how to handle it, someone in the room ordinarily will have the answer. And on the back of that, it's about learning from your equals. And I think that's important to turn around and say, there are people who have gone through what you're going through. Do you know what I mean? Now, only earlier on this week, I learned of a story of a foster mum, that is struggling with her adolescent teen. And it's the battle lines are changing in the household. And how do you deal with that? How do you navigate through this? Oh, he was a child 4 years ago. I could just slap him up. It'll be fine. Now, them slaps ain't doing nothing. So now, what are you going to do? You've taken your main weapon away. What else have you got?
That's when you have
Nothing.
the foundation.
So now I'm going to now put my rules in. Do you get what I mean? So that's when it gets to the extremes. We spoke about blended families, and Buddy said about the grand rules. And I wrote that down because I really liked it. And it's about turning around and saying, I've got my standard, but what's your standard? And let's understand the standard before we try to implement whatever standard on whatever child that could be affected by these grand rules. Firm, fair, and clear. This is my stance. And I think no matter where you go, if you walk in your life with that in the back of your head, I can't even say 9 times out of 10, say 8 times out of 10, you'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? Set your position as a parent, especially firm, fair, clear, you'll be okay. And as parents in parenthood, be on the same page. Do not allow, we use Billy as our trademark kiddie name, but do not allow Billy to play dad against mum, or mum against dad, or stepdad against dad, or stepmum against stepdad. Do you get what I mean? Let's not do that. Make sure it's clear and be on the same page. Some of the don'ts is be afraid. Don't be afraid. And that's so easy to say, but there are avenues that you can tune into. And the eMpTy podcast is one of them. As there's probably over 100 years worth of parenting within our eMpTy podcast group that can be tapped into. And even if it's not just a man's point of view, from a female's point of view, the reach is ridiculous. So we can point you in the right direction if that's what's required. This next one that I wrote down was, do not wait for a problem to be a problem. So as soon as we get the highlights from early doors that something's not right, nip it in the bud. Shout goes out to Jay. And the question was, the statement was, don't be parented as a parent by your child.
Bars.
Yeah, so I'm going to say it once again. Don't be parented as a parent by your child.
Bars.
Because what will then happen is the dynamics of the household automatically switch. And the last one is, assure that old ways are not always the right ways, because we have new ways that are working. This has been the eMpTy podcast. My name is The Citrus, and remember, if the glass isn't half full,
it's empty.
Shout goes out to Jay, but you know what?
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.